She handed him the file with trembling fingers, eyes fixed on the floor. Then his hand caught her wrist, pulled her close, and his lips crashed into hers like a man drowning. In that stolen breath, Seok-jin Park, the most feared man in the city, became the most dangerous thing Zara Williams had ever wanted. Before we begin! If you're ready for a love story that'll have you on the edge of your seat, hit that like button right now. Drop a comment telling me, have you ever fallen for someone you knew was dangerous? And don't forget to subscribe because this story is going to get wild. The conference room smelled of leather, whiskey, and fear. Seok-jin Park sat at the head of the mahogany table, his presence swallowing the oxygen from the room. The tattoo on his neck, a Korean dragon wrapped in flames, pulsed with each slow breath. His dark eyes, sharp as obsidian blades, scanned the faces of his lieutenants, men who'd killed for him, men who'd die for him. The shipment arrives Thursday, he said, his accent barely noticeable, voice low and lethal. Anyone who touches it without my permission doesn't just lose their hands. They lose their family's hands, too. Silence, not even breathing. He dismissed them with a flick of his wrist, and they scattered like shadows. Alone now, Seok-jin poured himself 2 fingers of bourbon and stared out at the city glittering below his penthouse office. 32 years old, and he'd built an empire most men couldn't dream of. Drugs, weapons, real estate, all wrapped in the legitimate shell of Park Enterprises. But empires were lonely. His phone buzzed. Zara Williams. Your 3 p.m. call to reschedule. New time is 5 p.m. He almost smiled. Almost. 15 floors below, Zara Williams adjusted her glasses and tried to steady her breathing. She sat at her desk outside Seok-jin's office, the space immaculate, every pen perfectly aligned. Control. If she controlled the small things, maybe she could survive the big ones, like working for a man whose eyes seemed to see straight through her. She'd taken this job 6 months ago out of desperation. Her mother's medical bills were drowning them, and no one else would hire a woman with her gaps in experience. A polite way of saying she'd been raising her little sister alone since she was 18. But Seok-jin Park's money was good. Too good. And she'd learned quickly. Ask no questions, keep your head down, be invisible. The elevator dinged. Zara's heart jumped. She knew that sound, Seok-jin returning from his meetings. He strode past her desk without a glance, his cologne a dangerous mix of cedar and something dark she couldn't name. The door to his office clicked shut. She released a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Invisible. Stay invisible. But her hands were shaking as she typed his calendar updates, because 3 days ago she'd seen something she shouldn't have. Blood on his cufflinks when he'd asked her to overnight them for cleaning. And yesterday, she'd overheard a phone call in Korean, his voice cold as winter. Dispose of the problem permanently. Zara Williams wasn't stupid. She knew exactly who Seok-jin Park was, and she knew that one day her invisibility might not be enough to save her. It happened on a Tuesday at 11:47 p.m. Zara was still at her desk, the office floor dark and silent except for the glow of her computer screen. She'd volunteered to stay late to finish quarterly reports. Anything to avoid going home to an empty apartment and her racing thoughts. The door to Seok-jin's office opened. She jumped, hand flying to her chest. Mr. Park, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were still here. He stood in the doorway, tie loosened, sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms marked with ink she'd only glimpsed before. His dark hair was disheveled, and something in his expression looked fractured. You're always here, he said quietly. Not an accusation, an observation. I just wanted to finish the reports. He moved closer, each step deliberate. The dragon tattoo on his neck seemed to writhe in the low light. Do you know what I did tonight, Miss Williams? Her throat went dry. No, sir. I watched a man beg for his life. His voice was barely a whisper, and I felt nothing. Zara's fingers trembled on the keyboard. She should run, should scream, should. But when I see you here, working late, trying so hard to be invisible. He stopped in front of her desk. I feel everything, Mr. Park. Tell me to stop. His hand reached out, fingers grazing her cheek. Tell me this is wrong. Her breath caught. Every logical thought in her brain screamed danger, but her body betrayed her, leaning into his touch like a flower to sunlight. I can't, she whispered. Something broke in his eyes. He pulled her up from her chair, one hand sliding to the small of her back, the other cradling her face like she was made of glass. For one suspended moment, they just stared at each other, predator and prey, but neither sure who was who. Then his lips crashed into hers. It wasn't gentle, it was desperate, consuming, like a man who'd been starving his entire life finally tasting food. His hands tangled in her curls, and she gasped against his mouth, her fingers clutching his shirt like he was the only solid thing in a spinning world. When he finally pulled back, they were both breathing hard. I've wanted to do that for 6 months, he admitted, his forehead resting against hers. This is insane, Zara whispered. You're my boss, you're dangerous, he finished. I know, but so are you. Me? You make me want things I can't have. That's the most dangerous thing in my world. He kissed her again, softer this time, and Zara felt herself falling into something she couldn't name. Terrifying and beautiful and completely ruinous. Zara didn't sleep that night. She sat on her apartment floor, back against the couch, replaying every second of that kiss. Her lips still tingled, her heart still raced, and her mind screamed warnings she desperately wanted to ignore. He's a criminal. He's dangerous. He could destroy you. But oh, the way he looked at her, like she was something precious in a world of broken things. By morning, she'd made her decision. Professional boundaries, distance, survival. She arrived at work early, rehearsing her speech. Mr. Park, what happened last night was inappropriate. It won't happen again. But when she stepped off the elevator, his office door was already closed. Through the glass, she could see him on the phone, his expression cold and controlled. The Mafia boss, not the man who'd kissed her like she was oxygen. Her chest tightened. Maybe he regretted it. Maybe it was just a moment of weakness. Good. That's good. Safer this way. So, why did it hurt? Seok-jin saw her the moment she arrived. He'd been watching the security feed, unable to focus on anything else. Last night had been a mistake. Not because he didn't want her, but because he wanted her too much. In his world, love was a weapon. His enemies would use her to destroy him, and he had too many enemies. He'd spent the night making calls, arranging tighter security, ensuring no one knew about the kiss. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw her. Those beautiful brown eyes wide with surprise, her soft gasp against his mouth. His phone buzzed. His second in command, Minho. Boss, we have a problem. Kim's crew knows about the Thursday shipment. They're planning to intercept. Seok-jin's jaw clenched. Handle it. There's more. They've been asking questions about your secretary. Ice flooded his veins. What kind of questions? Her name, her address, her family. He was out of his chair before Minho finished speaking. Zara was filing documents when Seok-jin's office door slammed open. Come with me, now. His tone left no room for argument. She grabbed her purse and followed, half running to keep up with his long strides. He didn't speak in the elevator, his jaw tight, one hand flexing at his side like he wanted to hit something. Mr. Park, what's... You're in danger. Her stomach dropped. What? The elevator opened to the parking garage. He guided her to a black SUV, hand on the small of her back, eyes scanning every shadow. Because of last night? She asked quietly. He looked at her then, and the raw emotion in his eyes stole her breath. Because of me, he said. Everything dangerous in your life right now is because of me. Would you run from danger or run toward the person you love? Let me know. The safe house was a penthouse in a building Seok-jin owned under a shell company. Sleek, modern, and fortified like a vault. Zara stood by the floor-to-ceiling windows, watching the city lights blur through unshed tears. This morning she'd been a secretary. Now she was... what? A target? A liability? You should eat. She turned. Seok-jin stood in the kitchen doorway, still in his suit but somehow looking more vulnerable than she'd ever seen him. I'm not hungry. Zara? Don't. Her voice cracked. Don't act like we're... like this is normal. You kissed me and now people want to hurt me. I don't even understand why. He crossed the room slowly, giving her space to retreat. She didn't. In my world, he said quietly, the things you love are weaknesses. My enemies will exploit any weakness they can find. And I've made it very clear that I... He stopped, jaw working. That you matter to me. One kiss and I matter? I don't kiss anyone, Zara. I don't let anyone close. I built my entire life on control and isolation. And then you walked into my office 6 months ago, so determined to be invisible, and all I could think was how much I wanted to be seen by you. Her breath hitched. This isn't just about a kiss, he continued. I've been watching you. The way you organize my chaos. The way you hum when you think no one's listening. The way you never ask for anything, even though I know you need everything. You're brilliant and kind, and you don't belong anywhere near my darkness. But God help me. I'm selfish enough to want you anyway. Seok-jin. It was the first time she'd used his first name. He closed his eyes like it hurt. Stay here tonight, he said. Tomorrow I'll end this threat. And then you can decide, walk away and I'll make sure you're protected forever, or... He met her eyes. Or stay and let me show you that even dangerous love can be real. Zara stepped closer. Her hand trembled as she reached for his face, fingers tracing the dragon on his neck. What if I'm tired of being invisible? She whispered. His hand covered hers. Then I'll see you, every day, for as long as you'll let me. The kiss was different this time. Slow, reverent, like a promise neither of them was sure they could keep. When they finally broke apart, Seok-jin pulled her against his chest, and Zara let herself be held, just for a moment, by the most dangerous man she'd ever known. Outside a storm was coming, but inside, for the first time in her life, Zara felt safe. They sat on the leather couch, a careful foot of space between them. Seok-jin had ordered food, Korean takeout that Zara picked at while he explained the situation. Kim Tae-sung runs the rival organization, he said. We've been at war for 2 years. Every shipment, every deal. He tries to sabotage, but he knows he can't beat me through business. So he goes after the people you care about. Yes? Zara set down her chopsticks. Has he done this before? Seok-jin's silence was answer enough. Who did you lose? She asked softly. His hands clenched. For a long moment she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, quietly, her name was Ji-woo, my younger sister. Zara's heart broke at the pain in his voice. I was 25, just taking over my father's empire. Ji-woo was 17, smart, full of light. She wanted to be a doctor. He laughed bitterly. She hated what our family did, hated me for continuing it. But I thought I could protect her anyway. Keep her separate from the darkness. What happened? Kim found out about her. Used her to get to me. He sent me a video. His voice cracked. She was so scared, begging me to save her. I tried everything. Paid the ransom. Followed every instruction, but he killed her anyway. Just to prove he could. Tears spilled down Zara's cheeks. Seok-jin, I'm so sorry. After that, I became the monster everyone feared. No mercy, no weaknesses. No one close enough to use against me. I built walls so high that nothing could touch me. He finally looked at her. Until you. Zara wiped her eyes. I understand if you want me to leave. If keeping distance keeps me safe. That's the thing, he interrupted. Running doesn't work anymore. Kim already knows. The only way to keep you safe now is to end him. Completely. She should be terrified, should run. But instead she found herself asking, why did you take over your father's empire if it caused so much pain? Seok-jin's expression softened. Because in Korea, family legacy is everything. My father was dying, and I was the oldest son. It was my duty, my burden. He paused. But also, I thought I could do it differently. Be better. Make the violence mean something. Did you? No, he admitted. I just became better at the violence. Zara reached across the space between them and took his hand. What if you could walk away? Start over? With you? Maybe. If we survive this? Seok-jin squeezed her hand, and for the first time since she'd known him, he looked young, hopeful, almost free. Then let's survive, he whispered. They stayed up talking until dawn broke over the city. Seok-jin told her about Seoul, the street markets, his grandmother's cooking, the weight of expectations. Zara told him about her mother's illness, raising her sister Mia, the dreams she'd put on hold. You wanted to be a writer, he said, not a question. She blushed. How did you know? I've seen the notebooks in your desk drawer. You think I don't notice everything about you? Her heart stuttered. You pay attention. To you, always. They were sitting closer now, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her waist. It felt natural. Right, like something that had always been waiting to happen. Tell me something no one else knows, Zara whispered. Seok-jin was quiet for a moment. Then, sometimes I sit in my office at 3 a.m. and practice saying, I'm sorry to Ji-woo. Different ways, different languages, trying to find the words that might have saved her if I'd said them sooner. Zara's throat tightened. She turned to look at him, and the vulnerability in his eyes shattered her. It wasn't your fault, she said firmly. I was supposed to protect her. You can't control evil people, Seok-jin. You can only control how you heal from them. She cupped his face. And maybe let someone help you heal. He kissed her palm. Is that you volunteering? Maybe. He smiled, a real smile that transformed his entire face, and pulled her closer. This kiss was different from the others. It wasn't desperate or forbidden or dangerous. It was simply theirs. When they broke apart, Seok-jin rested his forehead against hers. After this is over, I want to take you somewhere. Somewhere safe and beautiful where no one knows my name. Where? Jeju Island, in Korea. There's a beach there where Ji-woo and I used to play as children. I haven't been back since she died, but with you... He paused. With you, maybe I could face it. Zara's eyes filled with tears. I'd like that. And then, he continued, I want to meet Mia and your mother. I want to take you to dinner like a normal man, not a criminal. I want to watch you write your stories and bring you coffee and... Seok-jin. She laughed through tears. One thing at a time. Is that a yes? To all of it. Yes. He kissed her again, and Zara felt something click into place. A future she hadn't dared imagine. Dangerous? Yes. Uncertain? Absolutely. But real. So painfully, beautifully real. Outside the window, the sun rose over the city, painting everything gold. For the first time in 7 years, Seok-jin Park let himself hope. And for the first time in her life, Zara Williams let herself be loved. The explosion came at noon. Seok-jin was in the shower when the windows shattered. Zara screamed as glass rained down, covering her head as alarms shrieked through the penthouse. He was beside her in seconds, still dripping wet, gun in hand. "Are you hurt?" "No, I—" The front door burst open. Men in black masks poured in, 5, 6, too many. Seok-jin shoved Zara behind him and fired twice. 2 men dropped, but more kept coming. "The bedroom!" he shouted. "Lock yourself in the safe room. Code is 0317, Ji-woo's birthday. Don't open it for anyone but me." "Seok-jin, go!" She ran. Behind her, she heard gunshots, grunts, the sickening crack of bones. She slammed the bedroom door, found the hidden panel, punched in the code with shaking hands. The safe room was small, dark, soundproof. She could hear nothing, and that was worse than hearing everything. Seok-jin fought like a demon. 4 men down, 3 more circling him. His shoulder screamed where a bullet had grazed it, but he couldn't stop. Wouldn't stop. Not while Zara was in this building. 1 man lunged. Seok-jin caught his arm, twisted, and sent him crashing through the coffee table. Another came from behind. He spun, elbow to the throat, followed by a brutal kick. The last man held up his hands. "Message from Kim Tae-sung." Seok-jin pressed the gun to his forehead. "Speak." "He says you took everything from him. Now he's taking everything from you. Starting with the girl." The man smiled. "She's pretty. Wonder how long she'll last." Red consumed Seok-jin's vision. The man never finished his sentence. When the safe room door finally opened, Zara nearly collapsed with relief. But the man standing there wasn't Seok-jin. It was Minho, his second in command, holding a gun. "You need to come with me, Miss Williams." "Where's Seok-jin?" "The boss is handling the situation. I'm here to move you to a more secure location." Something in his voice felt wrong. Zara stepped back. "I'm not leaving without him." Minho's expression hardened. "I'm afraid you don't have a choice." He grabbed her arm. She screamed, fighting, but he was too strong. He dragged her toward the door, and Zara realized with horror. The betrayal wasn't coming from outside. It was already inside. "Minho, no!" Seok-jin appeared in the doorway, bloodied, furious. The 2 men locked eyes. "She's worth millions," Minho said coldly. "Kim's offering more money than I'll see in 10 lifetimes. Nothing personal, boss, just business." He pressed the gun to Zara's head, and everything shattered. "Let her go." Seok-jin's voice was ice and rage. "I'll give you anything. Name your price." Minho laughed. "You? The great Seok-jin Park? Begging? Oh, how the mighty fall." "Please." The word cracked. "She's innocent." "So was Ji-woo." Seok-jin flinched like he'd been shot. "That's right," Minho continued. "I was there that night. I helped set it up. Kim and I have been partners for years. You never suspected your own brother-in-arms could betray you? You helped kill my sister. I helped build an empire. Your empire. And this is my payday." Zara's mind raced. The gun was pressed to her temple. Minho's arm locked around her throat. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think. But she could see Seok-jin's face, the man who'd lost everyone he loved, about to lose her too. No, she wouldn't let him break again. In her self-defense classes years ago, the instructor had taught her one move. Stomp, elbow, run. It worked on distraction, not strength. Please, God, let this work. She stomped down hard on Minho's instep. He grunted, grip loosening for half a second. She drove her elbow into his ribs and dropped. The gun fired. Time slowed. Seok-jin moved like lightning, tackling Minho, wrestling for the weapon. They crashed through furniture, grappling violently. The gun skittered across the floor. Zara dove for it. Her hands closed around cold metal just as Minho threw Seok-jin off and lunged for her. She pulled the trigger. The shot echoed like thunder. Minho stumbled, clutching his leg, cursing. Seok-jin was on him instantly, fists unleashing years of rage, betrayal, grief. It was brutal, efficient, final. When it was over, Seok-jin stood there breathing hard, knuckles bloody, eyes wild. Then he looked at Zara. She was shaking, still holding the gun, tears streaming down her face. He crossed to her in 3 strides, gently taking the weapon, setting it aside. Then he pulled her into his arms and held her while she shattered. "You're okay," he whispered into her hair. "You're safe. I've got you." "I shot him. You saved us both." "You were so brave. So damn brave." She pulled back, looking up at him through tears. "Is it over?" "Not yet, but it will be. I promise you, Zara. I will end this, and then what?" He cupped her face, thumbs wiping away her tears. "Then I'm going to love you every single day for the rest of my life if you'll let me." "That's dangerous," she whispered. "I know." "I'm terrified." "Me too." "But I love you anyway." Seok-jin kissed her like she was his salvation, and maybe she was. 3 months later, the beach in Jeju was exactly as Seok-jin remembered. White sand, turquoise water, wind carrying the smell of salt and freedom. He stood at the shoreline, waves lapping at his feet, Ji-woo's ashes in his hands. "I'm sorry I couldn't save you," he whispered in Korean, "but I'm trying to be better. Trying to honor your memory by choosing life instead of revenge." Zara appeared beside him, slipping her hand into his. "Ready?" He nodded. Together they scattered the ashes into the ocean, watching them dance on the wind like the first snow. Seok-jin felt something release in his chest. Not forgetting, but finally letting go. "She would have liked you," he said. "Yeah?" "She would have said you're too good for me." Zara smiled. "She'd be right." He laughed, a real, full laugh that still felt new on his tongue. 3 months since that night, and he was still learning how to be human again. Kim Tae-sung was in prison, his organization dismantled. Seok-jin had handed over evidence to the authorities, a calculated move that cleaned his own slate while destroying his enemies. He'd walked away from the life, sold his shares, started over. Now he owned a legitimate security company, used his skills to protect people instead of destroy them. It wasn't perfect, but it was honest. And Zara was writing her novel, a love story about a dangerous man and the woman who saved him. She wrote in the mornings while he brought her coffee, kissed her temple, marveled at how she'd transformed his entire world. "My mom wants to meet you officially," Zara said, leaning against him. "She says any man who pays off all her medical bills and buys Mia a college fund deserves Sunday dinner." "I'd like that." "And Mia wants to know when you're going to propose." Seok-jin's heart skipped. "Does she now?" I told her to mind her business." He turned Zara to face him, the ocean wind whipping her curls around her beautiful face. "And what do you want to know?" She bit her lip, eyes dancing. "I want to know if you're happy." "I'm terrified," he admitted. "Every day I'm scared I'll wake up and this will all be a dream. That someone like you could really love someone like me." "Well, I do." "I know." He pulled a small box from his pocket and Zara gasped, which is why I need to ask you something. He dropped to one knee in the sand. Zara Williams, you saw my darkness and didn't run. You showed me that love isn't a weakness, it's the only thing worth fighting for. Will you marry me? Yes. She was crying, laughing, pulling him up. Yes, yes, yes. He slid the ring on her finger, a black diamond, rare and beautiful, just like her, and kissed her as the waves crashed around them. Somewhere in heaven, Jiwoo smiled, and Seok-jin Park finally came home. What did you think of Seok-jin and Zara's journey? Drop your thoughts below. And if you love this story, subscribe for more dangerous love stories that'll have you on the edge of your seat.